Today, I'm going to show you how to make the chart and graph for the Crater Formation Lab. So you're going to want to refer to the data table on your notes using the independent variable column and also your dependent variable. When you're graphing, remember, you're only graphing the averages. So eventually, we're going to copy and paste this into section 4 of the Crater Reflection Lab. What you'll need to do is open a Google spreadsheet. I've already typed some information in to make this a little bit quicker for us, but what I did was using the data table right here, I took this information and converted it into the Google chart. So what's important is to make sure column A is your independent variable, column B is your dependent variable. Make sure that they're labeled appropriately because this will make it easier. Also, make sure that you have the unit written down, okay, in grams or millimeters or whatever unit your group used. Now, make sure don't use my data and don't use my labels because everyone in the class has a mixture of different independent and dependent variables. Now, when you go to enter in the numeric values, make sure that you do not put grams or meters or any other labels with it. It should be just numbers. So now that we're ready to go ahead and do this, you're going to select the information that you want to graph, select all of it, click here to insert chart, and it'll look like most of it will be done. Although we know that we want a bar graph and we only want to graph the averages. So what you'll want to do is click aggregate column A, and this is starting to look better already. What I'm noticing is you have a title based on the information that you gave it, which I'll show you how to fix later, but we're missing the X and Y axes labels. So I'm going to show you how to do that next. So what you'll want to do is come over here to customize, and you'll go right here to chart and axis titles. On the drop down, the first thing is the horizontal axis title, and you can see they're all here in a drop down box. So let's start with chart title. This is the title that they gave you based on the data you had in the chart. You know that we want to have ours written as the effect of the IV on the DV. So you'll just go ahead and type yours in. And you can see it automatically changes it. Now you'll want to make sure that you substitute IV and DV. Don't just use my generic title. You can go ahead and alter the fonts in many different ways here. But let's go down to the horizontal axis, which is our x-axis. I'm going to decide what to label it. And I know that that was my mass in grams. Notice that I'm using the label for being very specific how I measured it. And then I'm going to use my vertical axis, which is my y-axis. And that was the width of the crater, measured in millimeters. And you can see after I type that, everything comes right up. So there's various ways to customize, but this is the basics of the graph that you want. One last tip, you want to make sure that your numbers on your x-axis are in ascending values. So you want the smallest to the largest when you type them in over here. That'll help you be able to see the relationship in the graph when you have to go and analyze it later. When it's time to put it in, all you'll do is go here and you can just copy the chart, find where you want to put it, Control V. I think that we can paste unlinked, and there it is. So go ahead and make sure that you use the correct graph type, which for us is going to be a bar graph. You've graphed only the averages. Your title is modeled after this here, the effect of the IV on the DV, and your X and Y axes are labeled with the IV and DV, just like we did.